Hello and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. Of course, I'm your host Clay, and with me, the very photogenic. I saw you, doing some self-love there on the Twitter. Is Katie taking all sorts of selfies? How
I'm
you doing
feeling
today,
cute
Katie?
today. I did my makeup. I got new makeup today. So, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do my makeup at lunch. I got a podcast to do tonight and stuff. So, I feel cute. Now, I'm doing really well. I have some new Star Wars material that I need to start reading. So, that will be fun. Um, I am now up to date on all of my comics that have been released in a trade or an
Whoop
omnibus.
whoop.
Woo woo. So,
Very very awesome.
and then,
We
yes, I did decide to get the Essential Legends collection.
She
I gave
broke
in.
down. She finally did it.
I gave in.
I am actually we are planning, some weeks in advance because we got called out by Snell as far as what our topic is tonight, but it does have some relevance with what we were talking about in the past, so don't worry, Snell. We got this. But we are doing some planning for future episodes to kind of fill in the gaps between now and of course Obi-Wan Kenobi at the end of May with Celebration. So we will get all into that, but let's go ahead and, of course, get into the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network paperwork. Of course, like I said, Star Wars Alliance is a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. What that means is just that we have a slew of shows here on this network, here with our podcast family, 8 shows over 7 days a week. Of course, starting us off is A Slice of Film and Ranger Alliance on Mondays, switching back and forth. The latest episodes for both of those. Katie was this week with The Northman, and I will admit it piqued my interest enough to say, hey, you know what? I don't want to get spoiled on this review. Let's go ahead and go watch the movie. Like I said on DC Alliance, it was a weird movie because you need to really know, not really know, but you need to at least know the surface level stuff of like Vikings and all of
Yeah.
that, and for it to at least be kind of entertaining. I could definitely see somebody watching this movie and being like, yeah, not my cup of tea. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed y'all's review. Very, very good stuff.
Thank you.
So go listen to that. On Ranger Alliance, me and Joe talked about the 30th anniversary season coming up next year. And this next week, me and Jake are actually going to be talking about Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #2, the comic. Just got finished reading that today. Very interesting. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, on Tuesdays is DC Alliance. Wednesday is superhero discussions. As well as us live here tonight. Wednesday nights is Star Wars Alliance at, of course, what time is it? It is
7
7
p.m.
p.m.
Eastern.
Eastern Standard Time. That's right. And then, of course, we have Marvel Alliance that goes live on Thursday nights at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll walk through the multiverses on Saturdays. And then, of course, World's Finest True Believers has moved to monthly. Chris has a lot of research that he does on those episodes. He makes them immaculate, so he needs that time to really focus in on the material that he is normally getting into when it comes to those shows. So go check the latest episode out for him. That is, I believe it was with Scott, and it was actually Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So I thought that was really, really
Yeah.
funny. So go check that episode out as well. Now, of course, we are a listener supported network as well as an ad supported network. So we will have ads in this episode. Now, of course, we will give you a warning and everything else. But if you don't want those ads, you can be here with us here on YouTube. Check us out, hit that subscribe button. Make sure the notification is on all on the Geekverse YouTube channel. So you know when we are live for all of our shows. Or you can join our Patreon. Of course, Patreon has the exclusive content that all of us have been working really, really hard on. Katie, I know you gave us an update last time, but when do you think you're going to have your you and Matt's episode for Star Wars stuff?
So I'm going to be recording the Legends discussion book this Friday, so it can hopefully be up this weekend. Um, Matt has yet to finish Trail of Shadows, and I'm
Okay,
pushing
okay.
him to finish that. So, and he's like, well, just go without me. And I'm like, no, the whole point of this was introducing someone new to comics for Star Wars
Yeah.
stuff. And I want people to kind of like hear that different side of it, because I can rave all day long about these comics. I love these comics. They're great. But hearing somebody else who hasn't been engrossed in fandom get to like really talk about it is something that I find
That's
really
the
cool.
draw for that
So
show for sure. But also, you did invite me. I'm very eager to talk about this because I didn't think I was going to be into this show as much as I am. But Katie is planning on a uh, slice of film or slice of TV Patreon,
yep.
being Bridgerton season 2. I'm eager to talk about that because I had some opinions that apparently is not very popular. So I am really eager to talk about that. But the exclusive content is there. And of course, you will have the early access to shows without ads. So that is it for all of the plugs for the network. Katie, where do you want to go first? And we don't have a lot, but we have some news to be able to actually share with you guys this week. So where do you want to go here?
So, okay, I want to hit on this one first, just so I can get the 2 Twitter pages off my list. Because I always keep one up in case we get show comments during the show on Twitter that we can kind of talk about. But one was specifically on Twitter. And so it's actually from Star Wars Japan. And it says from Square Enix Monthly,
Enix.
Big Gangin' Volume 6 released on May 25th. Star Wars The Mandalorian and Star Wars Visions. Serializations of the above 2 works are in the works, and so should be working towards being published sometime soon. So that's a manga edition. No word on if those are going to be duplicated into an English translation or not, but it was something a lot of people found cool. And the artwork, so you've got the Mandalorian and Grogu front and center on the Mandalorian one, of course. And then on the Visions one, you actually have the Master and then the Apprentice. It wasn't Akira, it was the 8th one. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was called. But then
It was with the old man. The old man
yeah, the old man.
with the short kind of dagger-esque red lightsaber. That's right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought I recognized those 2 on the cover.
The
These look
Elder.
awesome.
That's right there.
Yes. These look awesome. I'm really, really hoping that these get a English translation and are sold in the States, because they look awesome and they would look great on my manga shelf when I finally move into my new apartment. So I'm really, really excited about that for sure. Now we do have some more celebration type news, and I think that's what's next, right? Which is what you have up on your screen.
Yes. So we've got the whole panel schedule has been published. I won't read through everything, but some of the highlights, there's several publishing panels. So you've got their lot. It's the first panel is called Live on the Twin. That's not the name of that's where it is. Lucasfilm Publishing, Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away. Live on the Twin Sun stage, from adult novels to kids' comics, from the time of the High Republic to the rise of the First Order. This is the place to dive deeper into the stories from a galaxy far, far away, featuring details on new and upcoming titles from Disney Lucasfilm Press, Del Rey, Dark Horse, and more, including all new announcements and reveals from a galaxy far, far away. That is from 1 to 2 p.m. on Thursday, so opening day. There is a specific Ian McDermott panel where he's going to be talking about it's called An Audience with the Emperor. So he talks about all 3 trilogies and goes in depth there. There is a specific High Republic panel which features the original 5 authors along with Lucasfilm's James Waugh and Michael Siglain to talk about the golden age of the Jedi, and it will include all new announcements and reveals from Phase 2 Quest of the Jedi.
Very, very exciting for that one as well.
There is one called Behind the Page from Lucasfilm Publishing. It's 12:30 to 1:30 on Friday. And it's mainly talking about like the cookbook editions, I think, and like more like we were talking about it earlier with the Clone Wars official guide I've got here behind me, but like coffee table books that aren't necessarily like fictional, but just like stuff that we can use. So there's that one. There's several ones based on like films and TV shows that are upcoming. So there's a Thursday one and a Friday one for that. There's a behind the audiobook panel, making an audio original, which will be live on the Twin Suns stage. That's 6:30 to 7:30 on Friday.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. A lot of the Mando stuff is going to be on Saturday. And then we did get confirmation that Tales of the Jedi will be a show that's upcoming. It is an animated anthology shorts, which will be introduced on the celebration stage, but will also be streamed to the Galaxy and Twin Sun stage, which means it's a bigger panel if they want people to notice it. So that will be hosted by Amy Ratcliffe with special guest Dave Filoni. So Dave Filoni looks to be sticking his nose back into animation.
Yes.
I will just point this out. I'm gonna get like the she hates Dave Filoni stuff. No, I don't hate Dave Filoni, but I want to see some quality storytelling done with this. They're anthology shorts, so something very similar to Visions.
I think that it might be safe to say, because I don't know if it has been confirmed or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this, and then, I will insert foot in mouth when proven wrong. But I think it's safe to say with Dave Filoni, this anthology of stories that we're going to be getting from Tales of the Jedi might be considered canon. So we might be getting some of that stuff. And so it's just something more that we can add to the lore, more content, which we are desperately in need of anyway. So I'm really excited.
Content!
Now, I want to know if this is an anthology of stories for the Star Wars universe. Are they going to do you think they're going to take it in the same light as Visions and have completely different studios, completely different animation? Or do you think it is going to be all one kind of animation style with different stories?
I think it's more going to be it's definitely going to be like different stories being told. I don't think they're going to bring in other studios because I mean this logo was imprinted on the Lucasfilm box for Lucasfilm Christmas presents.
Oh, that's
That's
true.
Where we got
that is
it
true.
originally. So I don't think it's going to be different studios. I think it's just going to be people we already have in the Star Wars universe telling specific stories. So,
all right. Now, I do think there may be a glimmer of or at least some hope that they can take from Visions and say, hey, we may be using the same company or the same production studio, but maybe we can still use different types of animation. And I think that way that each story can feel very different, because I think that would be something that could, draw in more people that are, of course, in love with animation and be like, oh, I love this for this reason and whatnot. I think that they can learn a lot from what they did with Visions for sure.
And I think that's an important distinction to make. Clone Wars, Rebels, and Resistance have all had very different animation styles. Bad Batch is the first to reuse its specific animation style from a previous show. So I think, honestly, having a different animation style would have maybe helped Bad Batch long term to make it not feel so much like a Clone Wars sequel. So hopefully they go in that direction. I guess we'll see more from the panel.
Yep, that is for sure. What other stuff? Because I know, did you talk about the Charles Soule stuff, or is that next on our
I was
list?
gonna get to there.
Okay.
I was gonna finish this, and then we were gonna go into that. So there is a Marvel Star Wars comics where they'll have all new announcements. There is an IMC 3PO panel, which I think this is one that he's done previously. So that's nothing new, I don't think. And then from 6:30 to 7:30 Saturday, this is like probably the last one that really catches my attention. They have a Del Rey behind the scenes, where Star Wars authors and book editors will have an in-depth conversation about 3 of the most anticipated Star Wars stories coming in 2022: Brotherhood, Shadow of the Sith, and The Princess and the Scoundrel. This makes me think that other than High Republic stuff, these 3 books are all we're going to get from Del Rey this year. What do you think about that?
I think that's safe to say. I think that they have been in a really good stride and have shown that there is popularity with the High Republic stuff. And it feels like a lot of their resources are going towards High Republic, which is not necessarily a horrible thing. I think that, I have not had experience in other Star Wars books other than the High Republic. Now I'm currently reading / listening to Kenobi, but I know that we have talked about me jumping on the Queen's trilogy train and learning more about that. We are definitely going to be reading Brotherhood, so I can probably get into more of these in canon books that are closer to the timeline of what we already know. But because the High Republic is so new, I am really gravitating towards that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that is okay. I'm not saying that it's, that is the only thing that Star Wars can do right now. But I do think that it can be a good thing that we always say, stay away from the Skywalker saga and move towards something that you can
Yeah.
really develop and have fun with. And so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, getting just those 3 books and the High Republic stuff, because again, as far as like visual content, as far as like the TV shows and stuff, that stuff we desperately need. But we are like we are definitely not starving when it comes to book content. So I am a-okay with that for sure.
So 2 books that I'm going to have you read before The Princess and the Scoundrel. One is The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Okay.
And the other is Tatooine Ghost.
Tatooine Ghost?
Yes.
And
Tatooine Ghost and The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Courtship of... I'm just going to put Leia for right now. Okay. I have them down, and
I don't know if those are on Audible.
Okay.
I don't know if they have unabridged copies. I believe they're on Audible, but they may be the abridged copies. And you got to read the unabridged copy. But those are going to cover very similar plot points to what The Princess and the Scoundrel is. And I want to do like a comparison on like what changes and like how their relationship looks. I think that would be interesting.
I'm pretty sure I asked this when we talked about the announcement of that book, but is there a release date for that one? I feel like it's summer, right?
It's August 16th?
Of this year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I have some time. I wrote it down, and I actually think that I have some free time on Friday, so I'm going to go do some hunting for them, so...
Yes, those will be 2 good books, I think, to cover. I love a good romance tale. And so one is The Courtship of Princess Leia, but then the other one is their honeymoon. So could be interesting. So that covers the celebration stuff. You did go ahead and talk about it, but Charles Soule has actually sorry, gnats. I did a squirrel where I was like, yeah. Charles Soule has gotten a promotion, I guess, in
I would definitely
Lucasfilm.
call it a promotion.
Well, okay, but he wasn't actually employed by Lucasfilm. He was employed by Marvel and by Del Rey. Like, I'm sure he's getting paid for like his Luminous experience, but like,
Oh, well, I guess that's true. So it's not a promotion. It is he's got a new job.
he's got a new job. And this may explain why we haven't heard, because I remember going back when we were getting announcements for High Republic stuff, and I was like, where is the Charles Soule stuff? Because he wrote Light of the Jedi, and then he wrote the Eye of the Storm comic. And that was it. Everybody else was far more busy, except for maybe Claudia Gray. But everybody else was far more busy. But he's gotten a job as a creative consultant at Lucasfilm. And he said, let me scroll back up. He said, guess this is getting out there. Very excited about this new role. It's been a blast so far and is letting me do some really cool stuff in the galaxy far, far away. TLDR, I'm officially a creative consultant for Lucasfilm, and it's cool.
So that means we may actually see him, other than just the in thanks in credits in what should be, of course, the High Republic TV shows. We may actually see him higher in the credits, probably one of the first few in the credits for some of those shows and possibly movies in the future. I think that is very, very cool. Charles Soule has definitely proven that he knows what he is doing in this world. He is doing some crazy stuff with some of our favorite characters.
We'll have to talk about Crimson Reign when issue 5 comes out. Because Crimson Reign, I have some serious questions on what's happening. And I'm like, is this really the best choice? But we'll see. Because the third mini-series in the arc, because it was War of the Bounty Hunters and then Crimson Reign, and then it was the Hidden Empire. And the Hidden Empire has been taken off the release docket. So I'm like, have they just not seen the bandwidth that they want to? I mean, there's dozens of variant covers. So, but we can talk about it later. That's not the point of today's episode.
But what else other than all of that? I think that is basically it. Now, there is something that Katie threw my way and was like, hey, this may be a really cool topic. I want to actually save that for a question to our audience. So that way we can talk about it next week. I think that would be a very cool discussion. But we will save that for later on. So listeners, you will have some homework, but just wait until the end of the episode. But I think that is it for really big announcements.
There's 2 quick things, and you may have missed these because I sent them last week. But in an interview with Total Film, which there were several interviews, Hayden Christensen talked some. Excuse me. I think Ewan McGregor talked. But Deborah Chow has been officially announced to have directed all 6 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, in addition to being the showrunner for this. Revealed in the interview that Darth Maul was never in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So
I don't know. I think it's Deborah playing nice. She's playing ball because we have learned what happens to people who don't play ball at Lucasfilm, you know? So I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I'm sure that this show is going to be immaculate and you did great on The Mandalorian, Deborah. But I mean, it does sound a lot like something Filoni and of course Favreau would do, Lucasfilm would do. It's too much of their MO to not make me be like, they're probably right.
Now, granted, the direct quote, because that was just the headline, the direct quote is, as long as I've been involved, we've never had Darth Maul in any of it. Darth Filoni, oh my gosh. No, Darth Filoni is not his name. Dave Filoni did a beautiful job of telling that story already, talking about Clone Wars and Rebels. So it's a fair point. Obi-Wan Kenobi was going to be a series before Deborah Chow was involved. So it could have been a part of it, but she might have read the scripts that she got and was like, nope, this ain't gonna happen. So he could have been a part, but no. So
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I'm just happy that we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm waiting for it. I know it's gonna blow my mind, hopefully. I still have to keep, a gap of hype so that way it everybody knows my quote. I shared it in the GUA chat earlier this week because of DC stuff, but I mean, I have saved that video. I'm using it like so many times now. So
I am deep in
I just
depression.
yes, S Bubs, thank you so much for my own meme. It makes me happy. It makes me so happy. But let's go ahead and move on to
We actually have one more thing.
one more. Okay, hold on. I am looking at the chat because you said that there was going to be more. You said two more things.
Yeah.
Where's the other one?
The Acolyte?
Oh, okay. I missed that one.
So Illuminati, which we all know how I feel about Illuminati, but it is a rumor. They have two new character descriptions for the Acolyte. And it is about two new characters, Paul and Miri. Lucasfilm is looking to cast a Caucasian male in his 50s to play Paul. And while we haven't been able to find too many details about this character, we have learned that Paul will be a series regular. And as of now, it seems this is a character that will only be part of the series for one season. Lucasfilm is looking to cast a young black girl to portray an 8 to 10-year-old girl to play Miri. Miri is described as a lead guest star, and interestingly, it seems Lucasfilm might be looking for identical twins. So their theory is that looking for one season for Paul means this is going to be a multiple season show, which originally we had no idea if it was limited series or if it was supposed to just be like a regular TV series. And so the other character details, not much is there. If they hadn't said Caucasian male, I would have maybe thought about Kantam Sai maybe being included into this, because we know they have an affinity for working with younglings, but because of the description there, that goes out the window for me.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting to see. Oh, and I don't know why I was thinking of that, because this isn't the Youngling show that was originally, that hasn't been announced yet, but that they're thinking is
Hasn't
going
been
to film
officially announced. Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking maybe would be a good move for them to have is Kantam Sai, because they've been so popular, and it's good representation for Disney to include in the series. But with the Acolyte being at the end of the High Republic, we'll see what happens. Again, nothing really here, but it's interesting to see that they might be theorizing this might be multiple seasons.
That does excite me because it just dawned on me. I'm trying to push through to our main topic, but it just dawned on me there is something else that we have not talked about yet. I'm pretty sure we didn't talk about it last episode, Andor, and the cutting.
The 18-month production time.
Well, yeah, but like the cutting of the episodes or the seasons, right? Or was it seasons or episodes? That was the
it was
big
originally
article.
Apparently supposed to be, and the reason I didn't talk about this is because this news is
nothing has been
making,
official. Yeah,
nothing's officially announced, but the other reason is, and I'll say this now for the show because I don't think I've ever actually said it, I don't support making Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. That's why we were talking. We weren't going to talk about it. That's right.
So if you ever see a Making Star Wars sourced news, just know this show is going to wait until we get it from someone who's a little more substantial in the community, but also is a lot better person because Jason Ward's not a good person. So that's my story.
Valid reason. Valid reason for sure. But our main topic for tonight is what I have actually seen frustration from Katie is Freeplay on Lego Skywalker Saga. So
Y'all, you know that I wanted to love this game. I've been waiting for this to come out. Like, waiting. Longer than I've been married, longer than I've dated my husband. Waiting. So last night, we can walk through this a little bit. Last night was date night. So Matt and I we sat down to play Lego Skywalker Saga, and I'm this close to finishing story mode, but we weren't going to get enough time to do story mode and dive into some free play. So we finished The Last Jedi, where there were 3 Amilyn Haldos, by the way, which was very confusing because there was no explanation given, but it's just 3, it's triplet Amilyn Haldos.
I just recently started that because I have not done the sequel trilogy yet, and I will get more into that also. But seeing 3 of them with, like, I guess it was just a play off of the colored hair, and they were just like wanting to be funny. I was like, what in the world is going on? So I'm right there with you.
Good. So we finished The Last Jedi, and then I was like, okay, we got the I got the deluxe edition for my PlayStation, and I hadn't put in the codes yet. So we put in the codes. That probably took about 10 minutes because you had to restart the game and go out and everything. So I got to play as the Mandalorian. Yay, that was fun. And Grogu follows him around, which is, again, interesting. But for me, so I wanted to get a data card so that we could get the stud multipliers, because I was like, we need to start making money because I need to get all these things. So Matt Googled the location of one data card because I was like, we have to have this data card. I have to have it. So
I have a video for you that shows all of the locations of the data cards. I will send it to you after the show.
I don't necessarily know if I want to know the locations. Like, I like being able to like figure stuff out and use like the in-game detectors. I'm not a big cheat code person, so I try and figure it out. Well, because Taylor,
then you shouldn't be using the stud multiplier. That's cheating.
It's in-game cheating, okay? It's not like outside game cheating. And like, I guess videos aren't necessarily cheating, but I enjoy trying to figure things out, and then if I get stuck, then I go look things up. But I was like, okay, I want one stud multiplier so we can like start getting extra coin. So we decided to go to Mos Espa because I was like, okay, if we're gonna do free play, let's just go to an area on a planet and like just do all the stuff in that area. I thought that was a smart way to do it. One of the biggest things about this game was that they were promoting the open world aspect of it and like doing all the missions and stuff. So my first complaint would have to be in the detector. So there are the collectible detectors, which are in the skills that you can upgrade with coins and kyber bricks. So you can turn that on, and then you can get different levels of it and whatnot. But you turn that on and all you get are a bunch of white arrows. So nothing and Mos Espa has 33 kyber bricks. And the first level of the detector is supposed to do kyber bricks, ships, characters, and mini kits. So it does 3 different things. And then the next level does data cards. And so you're like, okay, I want to go look for kyber bricks. Where do I go find a kyber brick? Now, granted, you can go to the map and then like basically select a destination and go to that kyber brick, which sets up a much better detector method. But I'm like, okay, if you have a detector that you want people to upgrade, that detector needs to be a little bit usable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's not. Like, I literally go around with it off. Like, Matt's like, oh, detector, and turned it on. And then he's like, oh, that's a bunch of white arrows. That tells me nothing. In Lego Harry Potter, it's much more specific because there's gold bricks, there's red bricks, and then there's character pieces, and each one has a different color. So that you can go, okay, the red brick is this way, the gold brick is this way.
That would help so much.
Right?
And I think that it can easily be something that you could use the excuse of, well, they already had a lot to do in this game anyway. But at the same time, with as much as you have in this game, that should be expected, right?
Because
Is to have something as intricate as being able to tell the difference between what you're guiding us to. Yeah, for sure.
So I think that should have been an upgrade that was made because that doesn't even touch characters. So like you can go around and find different character tokens, and I'm like, how am I supposed to find those? That's just gonna add another further level of complexity. And so the destination thing is helpful. The rumor mill that you have to go around and because like you have to check off the rumors too, because otherwise it like complains like, oh yeah, go do this rumor thing. And I'm like, that's not helpful. It's leading you to other planets. Like one of them was for Utapau, another was for Takodana, like with Maz's castle. So it's like and there's nothing. You just go talk to the person and it's like, oh yeah, you go do this, or like you go do that.
It's a wild goose chase, basically.
Yeah, it's to promote the open world aspect of it and like fuel that connectivity. But I'm like, really? I gotta check these off? Like, so that was frustrating. I have more, but do you have anything?
Well, it's funny that you said that you are looking for those data cards and you're trying to get more studs. And for me, whenever it comes to these types of games, I'm right there with you. It's, hey, I want to try to get as much money as possible. So that way, if I ever need to buy anything, it's like money is no object. Like to have that ability, to have that feeling.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, well, you need to purchase this thing that's like 6 million studs, and you can just press it without having to question your life choices. That's what I love. So for me, I already have 2 data cards and I have 2 of these stud multipliers. So I technically have the ×2 and the ×4, which thus makes a ×8. Now, I do have 2 other data cards, but I don't have enough for the next stud multiplier, which is 8 million. So that was my objective for this 1 hour of gameplay that we promised for Freeplay to review here. Now, I did find like the best way to get as much studs as possible, but I do need every single multiplier. So I am just trying to grind for studs. So I will say the very first level of the Rise of Skywalker is apparently the best place to use the maximum multiplier and just go crazy with that. But another thing that I did is I went to, I believe it was Coruscant. I upgraded, of course, like I said, I had the 8 times multiplier, and I upgraded one of the abilities of like drawing the studs to you.
Yeah, the studded magnet.
Yes, the magnet for the studs. So I upgraded that to its max, and then I upgraded my sprint to its max. And so what I did at Coruscant, there is a lot of stuff that you can break. So instead of running over to it and like pressing the button to like just use the lightsaber or the shoot or whatever, instead of doing that, I actually changed my character to the Rancor and I just walk everywhere. And it literally destroys everything. Yes.
Okay.
So I literally walked the entire area of Coruscant, which is actually scary because once that Rancor moves, it is hard to stop, people. So if you didn't know the level of Coruscant, there's an edge and there's a cliff. So if you go There is no like, hey, I'm gonna jump and like move the camera so that way I go back to the ledge. No, if you're going to that ledge, you better stop touching the controller whatsoever so that way the Rancor could stop. Because I fell off of that sucker way too many times to actually tell you the amount that I did. And I lost studs and I was very angry. But the really cool thing about using the Rancor to destroy everything is if you do one full round, by the time you get back to where you started, the stuff that you've already destroyed is already respawning. So you can just keep doing it over
Yeah.
and over and over and over again. And within an hour, with an 8 times multiplier, I was able to get, because I used a lot of studs in order to upgrade some stuff. I was down to, I believe, like 500,000, and within the hour I was able to get about 3 million.
Okay.
So it did take a while, but from what I've learned from YouTubers and stuff like that, the last, or sorry, not the Last Jedi, the Rise of Skywalker, very first level there, with the max multiplier, you can do a run of like maybe 4 or 5 on, because it's a Millennium Falcon run,
Yeah.
and you're like destroying
Because you're
pipes and
doing the
stuff.
hyper jumping and stuff.
Yes. So it's all about like destroying those pipes, and doing that with the max multiplier will almost max out the full capacity of what studs you can do,
Oh
like
my
in game.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm definitely trying to do that. I did notice, I know you were talking about how you were listening to Kenobi and possibly doing mumble mode so you wouldn't really miss anything. I was looking more into those little like things that you can change the game. I did not realize that there was a retro
Uh-huh.
converter, basically, so that way you can change the scenery a little bit. You can also change it to classic, so the way that the old school Lego games looked, you can make it look exactly like that, which was really, really fun for a little bit. uh I had a lot of fun doing those. I did do mumble mode, I did pew 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 mode, I did, you know, a lot of the stuff to really experience the game the way that these developers wanted you to experiment with. So I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm still not finished because, like I said, I'm in the middle of The Last Jedi, and I'm trying to get to the Rise of Skywalker so that way I can just grind that first level over and over and over again.
Yeah, I have the times 4 multiplier because I had 2 million. So I was like, okay, we'll go ahead and get the times 4 so I can get more. I think when I bought that, that took me down to probably like 170K because I've been doing the skills and stuff so that like just going through methodically because I enjoy doing the different skills and stuff. So I'm going through all the joint skills and doing those. But I think by the time we were done and we played for probably after we got the data card, we probably played for an additional like 2 hours, 15 minutes. And I think we got up to about 600K.
Nice.
So not much, but we were also trying to do like the Kyber bricks and stuff.
Yeah.
As well as we did do one mission. So because again, not that I'm a fan of open worldness, but it was a part of the game and stuff.
Well,
And
no,
that is my
there's like
next
some
complaint.
of these
So,
blue bricks that you're trying to get.
yeah,
They actually make them kind of challenging to get. Like
yeah.
it didn't even dawn on me until I was like, "Oh wait, I'm Ray. I can use this glider thing." So
Mhm.
there's a moment where like you're going down on what is that first planet that you're on in Force Awakens? I always forget. Uh is it
I hope
shoot.
class. I think.
The where Ray is and where they
Yeah.
find the Falcon. Um, but you're
Oh,
going
Jakku.
downhill. Yes, yes.
I was
On
thinking Rise of
Jakku.
Skywalker still.
No, no, no. So on Jakku, there is a large downhill, and I saw this
Hmm.
blue brick that was way
Hmm.
up in the sky. I was like, how in the hell am I supposed to get that? And I was like, oh wait, I'm a scavenger. I can use this little glider thing. So I had to
Okay,
go
so that's how
all the
you
way
get
back.
that one.
Yeah, yeah, you go all the way back up on the hill, you have a running start and then jump with the glider, and you just have to maneuver your way to get it perfectly to hit that brick.
Okay, that's good to
Yeah.
know because I was wondering that one, and I was like, I'm trying to do story mode.
Yeah, and that's also, you said you had the chance to play as the Mandalorian. There is a lot of places to get these data cards that require you to like jump and stuff, and because the Mandalorian has like the grappling hook, it's easier to maneuver around those high or lower places. So I played as the Mandalorian as well, and I will say I actually really enjoy his character. It's very
Yeah.
smooth. He is very, like I said, he has the grappling hook, because there is a data card like that is a very large space away, and I'm like, I don't have a jetpack, so what am I supposed to do here? And so again, I jump and I would die. I jump and I would die. And then I didn't realize that, like, literally right after you jump, it's really, really quick, but it says press this button to grapple. And so I was doing that. I lost a lot of studs, but I was able to get the data card. So there is a lot of thinking to
Mhm.
this game sometimes, and I do enjoy that as well.
And I don't necessarily mind the thinking aspect behind the game, but another one that I have an issue with is just the amount of like little finesse you have to have, because you were talking about like you have like the split second to click this button to have the grappling hook go out. For me, there was several instances where I would try and pick up like a piece of a puzzle. Like there's one in Mos Espa where you're trying to put together um basically this four-piece puzzle schematic looking thing of a protocol droid's head. And I dropped one on accident right in front of the board where I had three other pieces. And it would tell me, oh, you're about to pick up the right piece. But then I would pick it up and it would be the wrong piece.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So,
that's just a small little like uh what would the technical term be? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's just like there's too many items in front of you,
yeah.
and your character, or just the way that the game design is, you're not able to choose between the four. It just
Mhm.
kind of picks up the closest one to you or whatnot, which that could be definitely annoying for sure.
It was, and Matt was over here. He was like, "Katie, it's fine, it's fine." And I was like, "I just want to pick up the right piece of the puzzle." Like, ah! And so I got super frustrated at that part. But then another thing with free play that I found an interesting choice. Um, so you have like the D-pad, right? And then you have left joystick, and then you have the right joystick. So in story mode, if you want to change the characters that you're with, like that you're going with, like if you're Luke and then you have C3PO, Leia, and R2 behind you, you press L1 to change your character. In story mode, you actually press the left and right pads of your D-pad.
Yeah.
And that's super annoying to me because I kept pressing L1 and it's like I can't do anything. Like L1 does nothing in free play mode. But then then it would just remind you, hey, like just click these. When you needed like it, you would go up to like one of the Jedi moving bricks, and it would like tell you, hey, press left or right on your keypad. And I was just like, ugh. So I found that an interesting choice because that doesn't necessarily need to be a thing in my opinion. In traditional Lego games, you just press your L1 um the L1 button and then you just cycle through the characters, or you just keep pressing it until you get to the right one. So
Yeah,
I
I can't
didn't think that
remember
needed to
on
be
the
a key change.
Switch. On the Switch, the way I was doing it is, so on the top bumper is where you are switching between the two characters that you are, and then you press the either the left or the right to open up your little like hologram
Yeah.
thing, and it shows. And my God, people, there are so many, like, I understood how many characters there were
Yeah.
going to be available to me, but when I accidentally, because I accidentally did this, I accidentally opened up that menu and it has every character set up by category. It says
Yeah.
Jedi, it says villain, it has bounty hunter, it says scavenger, it says other or all or something like that. And then you can see all of them on one little opening window. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And like I had said in our first review of this, I haven't really hit it yet. Because I wasn't, because, like we said, the very first time we were playing this, we were really just interested in the story, getting the experience of the game. So I remember when I was playing the very first Lego game that I really was like, hey, I'm going to play this and actually enjoy it, was I think Lego Batman 3. And there was specific items in that game that were like, hey, you cannot do this because you don't have an item to like melt this gold or whatever. And so I was like, oh, that's weird. That I guess that means I have to come back to this level. And in this game, there wasn't a whole lot of that. There wasn't a whole lot of, oh, you are restricted from this area of the game, or you're restricted from getting this little Easter egg or item because you don't have the right character. And
Yeah.
I do see that as a pro and a con, because it's a pro because I can play the entire game with the characters that you give me and it's great. The only con that I see out of this is the replay value of the story when it comes to the, well, I guess it wouldn't be story. I guess it would be free play at that point.
I don't know, because did you play a level in free play mode?
I have not really played a level. Like I said,
Yeah, I didn't play a
what I
level in
did
free play mode
when
either.
I
I
when I
just
went
did.
into free play, I jumped into like, because it shows you the map of where you want to go, and then I did like Coruscant space, and then like I would fly around there, just
Yeah.
shoot some random TIE fighters, and then be like, okay, well, I want to go into this district of Coruscant, so I would bring up the map again, place that there, and then I would be teleported or whatever. And then I would, because like I said, the main goal here is to get as many studs as possible before I do anything dramatic. So I was just trying to grab studs. I didn't really attempt to play a level in
Yeah.
free play.
I wanted to, because one of my biggest problems when it was announced was the whole open world stuff. I wanted to give it a chance and stuff, so I didn't really delve into a level. That'll kind of be the next thing that I go into once I finish story mode as well, is going through each level and 100%ing those, because traditionally you don't get to switch, like you don't get to play through all the characters like in your level. You get given a set amount of characters and then you go play the level.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see, because in so many of the levels I saw different aspects that you need. Like you need a Jedi, you need a Dark Force user, protocol droid, astromech, bounty
Well,
hunter,
have you seen those
etc.
little, like, I don't know what they are, but it has like it shows like the green and then the red and the green and the red. I
Yeah.
guess that is like Jedi or Sith or Jedi or Sith.
Yeah.
I haven't really done anything with those. Have you done anything with those yet?
So basically, all that means is like only the Force user can use it. And typically, when I've seen those are more relegated to like the moving bricks that you have to do, like stacking
Oh,
up for
that's right. Yeah,
stairs.
stacking them to
So
in order to get to somewhere else. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's true.
I haven't seen those be needed for anything other than stacking yet. So
All
yeah.
right. Well,
um the last thing I wanted to talk about was the mission thing, the side mission.
okay. Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, yeah. Because I saw your frustration with it.
that was super frustrating. Um, so we did the Watto mission, which is basically you want to go get Watto his money back from these deadbeats. And it was really confusing because it's just like, oh yeah, go find these deadbeats and go do it, and you accept the mission, and then you're like, okay, wait, there's nowhere on Tatooine that I'm going, and then you look at the map, and the map has 3 blue exclamation points on Coruscant, Takodana, and there was one other one. I think was it Jakku? Yeah, it was Jakku. So those were the 3 planets. And so you're like, oh, okay, so I'm traveling for this. I'm not like just like trying to find these deadbeats on Tatooine, because you're like, it, me being the story freak that I am, I'm like, Watto doesn't talk to people outside of Tatooine. Why would he have people to go chase down on these planets? But
Yeah.
anyways, so that was a question I had. But then, so we went to Coruscant first, and you have to go hunt it down. And they do have the like directional thing. It's like the mission thing. So it's like the level story mode one, except it's a different color. So it's
Okay.
leading you in the direction of where to go, and then it takes you to this circle. And then your little map to the left just searching, searching, searching. And so you go through and you're looking and everything. And then we found this panel, and it looked like a protocol droid panel. And it had what we thought was a person beside it. And we're like, okay, how do I get this panel to work? Because the panel had a blue exclamation point. And every time you turned around, everything led you to that panel that didn't work. And so Matt and I were like, okay, well, let's just continue going around the circle. And it would lead you every time. The little mission thing would be like, oh, you've gone too far away. Here's where you need to go. And it would lead you back to the panel. And so we just keep exploring around. We found a couple Kyber bricks on Coruscant. And then we get to this door, and the door has a blue exclamation point. But it wasn't leading you to the door. And so it like pops up with the little like press O to talk thing. So you press O and then you talk to it. And then it's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to let you in. I'm only going to let this droid in. And then it pops up a picture of the droid. And then I'm like, that looks like the person that was beside the panel. And so you go back to the panel, and the panel is able to be worked now. And then it lets you control the droid. You as C-3PO, you're controlling the droid. It goes to the door. The deadbeat lets the droid in, and then you're able to collect Watto's money. So that probably took us 20 minutes to do.
When realistically, it probably would have been like a 5-minute like side mission.
Yeah, you go to Coruscant, you go, oh, okay, I'm supposed to go to this door. Like, the whole searching thing is cool if you're not going to lead us in the direction of, hey, you have this thing over here that you need to go do. Don't pop up searching if it's not going to be there.
Yeah. That's annoying. And I wonder if it's, again, the bit I'm going to sound like I'm just one of these boomers or whatever talking about back in my day, we used to have the entire game on our one disc or whatever. But like, again, these games constantly get updates. These so it's good and bad when you have glitches like this, because it's like, hey, this is really frustrating and it's ruining kind of my gaming experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, hey, there's a glitch here. At least now the developers know, hey, this is something that we need to have fixed. If people talk about it enough. So it's just the way that these games are these days. It is super frustrating, but I can totally see how that could be, like you said, a 5-minute thing should not last you 30 minutes or longer.
Yeah,
because of a small glitch.
Yeah, because Jakku was fine. We got to the person, everything worked out. That one was good. You get to Takodana and you go to Maz's castle with the destruction from the Force Awakens and everything, and it does the same thing where it leads you into the middle of a circle, and then the whole time you're in this circle, your map is like searching, and except at this point, there's no blue exclamation point to lead you in the correct direction. You could just like spin slowly around and you don't see anything. The person you have to find there is actually at the top of Maz's castle. You have to go up, even though it was leading you into the little like destruction area. And I actually went up into the area where the deadbeat was, and the little directional circle, because it should, like, to get up, you actually have to go out of the searching circle. And so the little directional thing took me through the castle area, like the upstairs castle area, and was like, oh yeah, you need to go this way, and took me back down into the forest area. Matt goes up and finds the deadbeat like 3 minutes later. And I'm like, I was literally just up there and it told me to go back down here.
See, and I wonder if, again, so it may not have even been your fault, but who was first player and who was second player?
I was first player.
Ooh, okay. See, I wonder, because this was something back in the day. Levels wouldn't proceed or objectives wouldn't be met unless both characters were in the same area.
Mhm.
So maybe there was something like that, like, hey, y'all both needed to be there at the same time or whatnot. I'm not entirely sure. But that definitely does sound like, if y'all were separated at one point, you went in there, wasn't working. He went in there, wasn't really working. But at one point, it finally registered that y'all were in there at the same time at one point. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're supposed to continue this story or continue this mission. So I totally see how that might be a problem also.
That could be a good point. And like most of the time when I've played this, I've been playing by myself, and Matt just jumps in kind of when I'm like, hey, come play with me. But yeah, so that's really all I have for now. We did get Tatooine to 26.7%. But we probably played, including The Last Jedi, we probably played for about 3.5 hours yesterday.
Nice.
And
this game sucks you in. I was playing it last night and I was like, okay, I want to play for just an hour. I have some other stuff to do and it's getting really late. And then I was like, hey, it's 2:00 in the morning. Hey, I'm still playing Lego Skywalker. Holy crap. So it's still, we have small complaints, but it's still a great game. And I don't think this should deter anybody from getting this game, because like we said, we're having a lot of fun with it. You can have fun doing couch co-op. It is a little bit of a disappointment that there is no actual online co-op, but that's not why these games are made. So go check it out if you haven't so far. Again, it is on Switch, it's on PlayStation, and it is on Xbox. I don't know if it's been confirmed for the PC yet. I can only imagine when PC comes out, all the mods that are going to happen and crazy things that people are going to do with that game. But before we end the podcast, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I will go ahead and say, y'all, and if you're new here or if you're not new here, I'm just going to reiterate it. I am not a video game player. Like, I love Lego games. Like, I grew up playing Lego prequel trilogy, Lego original trilogy. So these were my jam. Like, before Lego Skywalker came out, like, I was so desperate for a Lego game that I went and found a used copy of Lego Harry Potter and 100%ed that in the time. All 7 years. Yes, it took me probably 8 months to do.
This is definitely a game that, like, because each level has that little percentage on there that says, oh, you have, this much left or whatever. It is like calling me. It's like, Clay, you only have 60% on this. Where's the other 40%?
I know, which is why I was like, we have to finish Mos Espa, because Matt was like, well, you wanted to go read. And I was like, no, we have to finish Mos Espa because I want to see 33 out of 33 there. And I'm like, so yes, it is very addicting. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing this. I mean, heck, I bought it on 2 different consoles so that I could play it while I was traveling. So I don't hate the game. I'm going to continue playing. I'm probably, once I finish story mode, I'm probably going to cut it down to once a week, because I've been playing like 3 or 4 times a week. And y'all, I'm supposed to be writing reviews and like watching films and stuff so that I can podcast about it. And instead I'm playing video games. So I need to go do some other things.
One of us. No, I definitely have been picking it up because for a while I was like, Abby, where's my Switch? Where's my Switch? I can't find my Switch. And I was finally able to find it after like a week. And so I did pick it back up. I have been playing it like again, like every single day. It's so much fun. I think I will probably pick up the DC Villains because that is like their
Mhm.
biggest DC game. So I'll probably pick that one up pretty soon. But before we jump into the end of this podcast and do all of our plugs or whatever, Katie brought up something in our Star Wars Alliance chat that I want to make a topic for next week's episode. Now, these types, it's a video game question, so it is kind of relevant to this. They can get a little crazy with the characters and stuff. I'm not going to make it gigantic or anything. So we're not going to do like DLC characters and stuff like that. But there was a question on somebody did a
So
question for Star
Octu
Wars.
Radio recorded an episode. It was Alden Diaz and Kelly Knox with Octu Radio. They had a question from Dark Jedi 2552 to build a Star Wars fighting game roster. And
Yes.
they listed what they came up with and said, who would you play as? Give us your special move ideas.
7, 8, 9, 10. So this is exactly what I was thinking of. They did 10 light side characters and 10 dark side characters. I wouldn't specifically say it needs to be light or dark side because you do have characters like Din Djarin that you can say is light side because that's what they did here, but he's a bounty hunter. So he's kind of like in between, a vigilante or whatever, anti-hero, whatever you want to call them. So I will say if you want to do just 10 characters, because like Katie said, she is not a gamer, do 10 characters. Tell me if they have a weapon or whatnot. And for our audience, this is because I will say, I remember, I believe it was the original PlayStation. There was once an actual Star Wars fighting game. I played it. I rented it from Blockbuster before. Yes, the non-existent company now. So if you guys want to play along with us, create your roster of 10 characters. Tell me one special move that they have, do something as far as like weapons and whatnot. Um I would like to see a Star Wars fighting game in this new genre of gaming for sure. But that's going to be something for next week, so I'm really excited to see what other people come up with. And yeah, that will be it for the show. Of course, you can always find me at FanboyClay on Twitter. I do have a link tree that I keep forgetting to add Star Wars Alliance to. Like as soon as I started saying it, I was like, son of a gun, I forgot it again. But go to the link tree. You can find the links to all the shows that I host, excluding Star Wars Alliance right now. Hopefully, by the time you listen to this, I will have it up there. But it's DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Ranger Alliance, and of course, here, Star Wars Alliance. I'm having a lot of fun. We did talk about this off air, and I think I will go ahead and say it here. Katie was kind of making fun of me because of the whole link tree thing and not having the link up, and we never really announced it. I will go ahead and say I've been having a lot of fun doing this full time with Katie, being here on Star Wars Alliance. So I know that I do have a little one to be expected soon. I don't want that to change anything with how I will be doing podcasting. Snell swears that like my whole life will be in ruins and I'm gonna have to be in complete chaos and change my entire schedule. But we will see. I love being here. Star Wars has been a huge influence in my life, growing up and stuff. But like Katie has just made me a Star Wars nerd, and I absolutely love it.
That's what I'm here for. Y'all, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Slice of Katie. My other show on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Podcast Network is Slice of Film, and it's on Twitter. It's at Slice of Film 1. The next episode is going to be Free Guy. Yes, I managed to find the audio, which I still have to send to Clay. I moved my Post-it notes for reminders. They're over there now. Oh well. So that will be the next episode, which will drop in 2 weeks because we did just drop the Northman episode. That one was a super fun review. I always love talking with Mark and James, and everybody brought up some really good points about the movie. And it is one of 3 original movies in theaters currently. Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Unbearable Talent of Nicolas Cage, the Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal movie, whatever that one's called.
I will definitely be seeing that before I edit your podcast. So that's going to be...
We're not going to talk about that one on a podcast unless somebody wants to come talk about it with me, because I'm going to go see that one this weekend. But right now there's no plan to talk about that one.
Okay.
But then that and The Northman are 3 original movies in theaters right now, and a lot of movies are moving more in the franchise direction. So please go support an original film. This is something very near and dear to my heart. Yes, I love franchises, but getting to see original films is super important. So make sure you go check those out if you're comfortable going to a movie theater. Otherwise, check them out when they drop on streaming. And then this podcast is on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Star Wars Alliance without the A in the wars. Very important. Don't forget it. Next week, we will be talking about the fighting team rosters. Clay and I will come up with our own, but then we may also talk about The Force Awakens. We have to decide. Not sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But then upcoming topics, we're going to be talking about John Jackson Miller's Kenobi book. It's good preparation for Brotherhood, which is coming up, as well as the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So we'll be doing an in-depth review on that. And then it will be Brotherhood, and then we should be right on time for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So there you have it, y'all. There's some upcoming shows. If you have questions, feel free to drop them on our Twitter. Whether you just add us or DM us, either one is good. We love answering questions. Rate and review on your favorite podcatcher of choice. We have solo feed. We have the network feed. And with that, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you're listening or watching. And we will see y'all next time. May the Force be with you.
See ya.